technology stuff is. It can be crazy, but we are live right now here on the Black Podcast. So the first thing I need you to do is share the video. Again, it's important that we're sharing the knowledge to our communities, to your people, to our people. You don't want to just keep the information, these good shows to yourself. You want to make sure that you are sharing to your guests and your family and your circle of people. We do have a special guest today, Mr. Scorpio Brown, and he is an amazing story, and we just can't wait to hear more about his journey. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Sherelle Hobson. I'm your student athletes resilience coach, and I'm your athletic program enthusiast. And a lot of you know I'm very passionate about athletics, but the most important thing I'm more passionate about is helping coaches to create spaces that are safe for our young men, that create safe spaces that want to help them be productive for their future endeavors. So my doctorate is in sports administration and leadership, and my study was on African American males and the effects of athletics on the educational plans. And so a lot of you know, a lot of within athletics, we have a lot of different stories when it comes to our young men, whether they are trying to, weigh out or financial responsibilities or whatever they're trying to do. Athletics can really take them there and be something positive for their life if we create that space that's positive. So here with my host.
Brian Street, founder, CEO of Your Legacy Begins Now. I really just love to help people realize, understand, and take full advantage of the fact that it doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter what happened in your past, regardless of how traumatic it is. You can use that as a stimulus to go forward and actually become who it is you desire to become. But typically, you need to surround yourself with the right people. You need to put the right information into your mind. So I'm just so proud that I was able to link up with Dr. Sherelle Hobson and we were able to create this platform so that we could play part and boldly leveraging the affluent connections for knowledge. So we're leveraging these connections that we have to bring the knowledge to the masses, to let it be known what we have the potential of becoming and build those connections to have that continual ongoing support, that continual ongoing accountability to help us continue to elevate our community. And that's one of the spaces that I'm really pushing right now, as well as the importance of group economics in our community. So learning how we can keep the dollar in the Black community for a longer amount of time, and really bringing the excellence that we are across the spectrum to the broader audience, not just to the Black community, but to the broader audience, so that those allies out there can see where it is that they can speak up and help incorporate us when they see value in certain places. But at the same time, just understand that we're not a monolith. We're not all the same. We each bring our own unique semblance of value to whatever it is that we're doing. And we got this gentleman with us today that has definitely carved out his own niche. And I'm just eager to hear more about his story and share his story with the guests, with our audience. So we're gonna rock and roll. So who do we have with us today? There we go, Mr. Brown. How's it going?
Going good, going good. Happy to be here.
Lovely, lovely. All right, you're muted, Sherelle. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Thank you for accepting the invite. We are just excited to hear your story, and so we're gonna dive right in. So we want you to get started on who you are, where you're from, and just start speaking about your journey as far as the dynamics of your family, how it all started with you.
Well, I'm Scorpio Brown. I'm from Newport News, Virginia. Around the world is known as Bad News, the home of Michael Vick, the home was Allen Iverson, so on and so forth. The list goes on of great athletes. Um, Knowing that we're from a sports like that, is always, um, it's motivational. Knowing that that when you have a goal or you have a dream, that it can be coming from a small city. But the history of myself, um, son of Robin Brown, brother of Elton Brown, and um, graduated from Warwick High School in Newport News, and end up getting a full scholarship to play football at Hampton. Um, Things didn't work out as planned, and I end up transferring to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Things worked out perfectly when I got down there. end up with a degree in kinesiology and played football. After I got done with college, I continued to play football. Played arena football for I want to say about 10 years now, something like 10 some odd years, and just after I got done playing, the key goal for me was to give back to the community, as far as giving kids the knowledge of everything that I pretty much became a sponge of growing up, and making sure they don't make any bad decisions or wrong decisions that I probably had made, and try to make sure they always go right, never left. That's my key goal when it comes down to helping out in the community as much as I can. Um, I'm from a background, far as my brother played in NFL for a few years as well, and my mom always been a philanthropist in the area, as far as just making that as far as meals, feeding the homeless, um, uh, coat drive, so on and so forth. So always been instilled in us to do the right thing and try to help out our city as much as we can, and I still try to do that today.
Wow. Wow. So what are some of the things, we talk about, I've been in athletics for a long time, and one thing that I saw was that this continuous cycle, with a lot of young men where, they were involved in athletics for whatever purpose, whether it was, you know, making it to the NFL being a dream, or just being able to go to college, and being the first generation to go to college. And they always had something driving them there, but it was always a disconnect of the purpose that the athlete was there and the purpose that the coach had. He was trying to win the game and we were trying to win in life. Do you feel like there was times when you was in athletics, as far as high school or even going into your first year in college, what did you feel like you were missing at that time as far as keeping you on track?
I mean, honestly, I can truly say that I had a great high school coach. He became a father figure in my life and did everything possible that he could to make sure that not even me, but everybody that came through Warwick High School always made sure that we made it out of Newport News. That was his key goal, and that right there alone, kind of like made made me more aware of that I can get out of the situation that we was placed in, far as single parent home, um, figuring out how we're gonna eat, different things like that to that nature. And with him, he always kept us um, realizing that this is a short period of time, and everything will get better. And that was the main goal for us, as far as just being motivated from my coach to do more, and be a upstanding citizen in society, and not try to fit in, just be yourself. And that helped a whole lot, far as when it came down to the decision making of um, going to college or going to work a 9 to 5, um, as well as I didn't feel as that I was missing too much in high school when it came down to um, things to that nature, because he always was always there. He always was an ear to listen. Like if I have anything on my mind, if I have anything on my heart, he was always there to listen. Same as Coach Tommy Freeman. Actually, like I said, he actually was Vic coach as well in high school, so on and so forth. And he was always a caring, loving person, and that helped me a lot, far as not having a father figure in my life. And um, it was definitely a privilege to have him guide me, far as things that my mom just couldn't understand, far as she wasn't a guy, so she couldn't really understand fully, and she didn't play football either, so she know far as that from that aspect. So it was always great to have him there. But when I got to college, it was kind of like a rude awakening. Not really a rude awakening. It was kind of like a wake up call, because the coach wasn't there to console you. He wasn't there to um, really care about what's going on mentally, or what's going on, as far as in your heart. It was kind of like, hey son, I gotta win or they're gonna fire me. so so it made it a little bit more tougher as far as you being able to really just open up to your coach like you wanted to, like you did in high school than you can in college, because it was kind of like it was more of a business than it was. And I mean, like a don't get me wrong, it was a family atmosphere at the same time, but it wasn't like a family atmosphere like it was when I was in high school.
That relationship is always important. And I know when I was coaching, my dad used to always say, well, just don't take it so personal. But it's like, when you want to coach the right way, you take it personal, because the well-being of your athletes, is a reflection of you. So kudos to that coach that was doing that for you.
Yeah, just listening to what you just shared. Um, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but when I do watch TV, it's got to be something that pours into me to make me want to go out and keep on grinding in the work that I do. So I'm sure you're familiar with the series Last Chance University.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one that they did was, or the first couple I think that they did were here in Mississippi, up at East Mississippi Community College, and just looking at the dynamic between, now that one was a little bit different than the basketball one that's out now, but just looking at how, like, the coaches, they coached, they cared too, but they were really focused on making sure that we went out there and win. And then they had the counselor lady that, like, she went above and beyond for the guys. That's something that, myself and Sherelle here, we really see the necessity in that. So that's something that we're really pushing, and I think it takes individuals like yourself to go back and be in front of these coaches, be in front of these administrators, and let it be known, like, if it wasn't for a coach that actually coached us like this, who's to say where I would be today? Because
Exactly.
if it was all about winning and just winning, and nobody cared about the rest of me as a human outside of just sports, then who knows where I would be. So I love that you bring that up and that your coach actually instilled that into you guys. That's something I feel we need so much more of. So definitely great that you were able to experience that, and I'm fortunate that not everybody can have that same story.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that just comes to show, like, kind of like even in this area alone, like a lot of times, it's not too many coaches like that. So it was kind of like to the point of he instilled that to me, and granted, 15, maybe 18 years later, I'm right back in the same kind of shoes that he was in, and trying to instill that into the next man. It's always an honor and privilege to get phone calls, DMs, text messages from my former athletes saying that, coach, you saved my life, or coach, you helped me understand, like, the world is bigger than Newport News, and different things like that. It really touches my heart like crazy, to receive messages like that, and it's definitely fulfilling to help out these young black youths in our area, because at any given moment, man, they can go left at any given moment. And um and the thing about it looks so easy. It looks so easy, far as well, let me say this. In their eyes, it looks so easy, and it looks so much more fun to go left, other
But
than to.
that's what we present, in
Mhm,
the schools, so that's why it's like, you're gonna make it to the league, but they
mhm.
don't tell you the
Just-
journey, the process, and the 1% that makes it. So that's why it makes you look like, if I just check these boxes, then I'll make it.
mhm.
And that's not, they
Yeah.
can't accept everybody,
And and that's the thing too. I tell my story. I tell my story to these kids all the time. Far as, like, everybody don't make it. So you always got to have something to fall back on. My cliche is always, "What are you gonna do when the ball goes flat?" So it's more meaning. What are you gonna do when you can't play football no more? What are you gonna do when you can't play basketball no more? What are you gonna do when you can't run track no more? And you always want to have, I'm sorry, excuse me, a backup plan in order for you to have financial stability for life.
Yeah.
because you can't do this forever. At the end of the day, is a cut line somewhere. So you have to understand that everybody don't make it to the. I'm one that didn't make it to the NFL when I was playing football, but um, making them understand that it's always options of you know even me falling into training. Um, I've been working out my whole life, so I just took everything that I pretty much learned sorry throughout the process of me growing up and working out. I was able to learn a lot from my trainer, and all I did was pretty much take it from there and just pass it on to the next.
Yeah. One thing, when we're having to go through that transition, I remember going through when I finished running college track. I had these plans of making it to the Olympics and trying out for a team or trying out for the Olympic team. And I remember going to that track meet where it was like a last minute meet to get on, to be a come on to go on to a practice team of the USA team. And to be this short, I felt like someone just took the breath out of me. When my brother passed away several years ago at 27, and it was when the football kind of disappeared and we grew out of it. You start feeling like you're grieving, because all you know is that sport. Did you ever go through that type of transition when it was like, okay, football is probably going to be over, did you go through a stage of like, what now? Or did you already know that he was ready to make that transition and to stop playing?
I kind of got to that point of like the transitional stage of like, all right, this is it. Um, the money started to become different. Um, so it was kind of like we was getting paid like I was beforehand. So kind of like, all right, now it's time to look at what's next. And it pretty much fell in my lap. And I never had the problem of like really trying to um, understand like kind of it being hard or anything of that nature. It was kind of like, all right, I'm ready to go to the next step. But far as certain people, it's hard when you're praised so much and you're dealing with fanfare of people screaming your name. I'm sitting here with 10,000 to 11,000 people in the stand screaming my name, and now I'm just a normal Joe. But it's good to be able to understand that it's humbling. That's for sure. It's real humbling. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you're it's a transitional stage that a lot have to you know feel into. But a lot of people can't take it that way, and it's sad because you see the whole situation with PE and everything like that, and people are like having a hard time dealing with life after football, and is a real dark time for some people. But I was able to understand that it's is the next step other than that's the end of life. So that's a good thing.
I know here recently, over the last, I'll say about the last 2 months or so, um, I stumbled upon the podcast show, This or I Am Athlete. So
Mm,
Brandon Marshall, man,
that's
like
a good show.
that is legit, man. Like, and I had never been so zoned in on a conversation like I have been listening to these guys because they create that space that we need.
Hmm.
Former athletes or just as men in general.
Hmm.
We don't have enough of those spaces to where we encourage one another to just be real, to just like let it all out, just be real. And the episode that and I posted it on my Instagram a few weeks back. The episode that they were speaking about Vincent Jackson and T.O. broke down talking about his mom and everything. That's one of those like without spaces like that, you see more people crack. You see more that just don't know how to get into that transition. And that's one of the things, as you mentioned earlier, it's so easy to go left before you really make it. And when you mention that, it made me think about Eric Thomas. Whereas he was speaking to a group of guys and he was saying how when he dropped out of school, he was going, playing ball, and then all of a sudden his boys are like, "Et ain't here no more. Where Eric?" He saw all the guys in the nice whips that was selling drugs, like doing. It was like he saw what was attractive, and he didn't really have that structure in front of him to keep him like, look, that may look good right now, but you look 5, 10, 15 years down the line, what then? So
Mm-hmm.
going to that next level in sports, but having that accountability, having that push, like this is only going to last a certain amount of time in your life. When it comes to to you actually internalizing that and foreseeing, so to say, what you wanted the next stage of life to look like, what did that process look like? Was it something that you kind of was focused on from the jump, or you kind of just kind of fell into it once it came to you?
Um, it was kind of like I tried. I was like, let me try my hand on this. And it was kind of like I'm on the back end. I'm on the back end of my arena career. And I'm sitting here like, what's the proper what's the proper way of breaking down how I can make this money legally and make sure that I can help people. And in that process, it was kind of like I didn't expect for it to be a full out career. But now it's actually like it pays. It's paying off pretty good. And it's just being a former athlete helped a lot. Like far as like they know that we keep our body in shape. They know we work out. They know we healthy. They know this and that, this and that. So they kind of like, all right, why not follow a person that's pretty much already in that body shape that I'm trying to get to. So it helped out a lot of me being a former athlete. And I just went on Facebook and said, "Hey, who's looking for a personal trainer?"
Yeah.
And and it was like I was like, "Oh, honestly, overwhelming," and it was unexpected. Um, Matter of fact, I just got the Facebook give you the memories, and it actually popped up. It popped up last year. Last year, it was like football season was over it or something like that. So it was kind of like in June. I just happened to just look at it and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy. This is how it all started," and seeing that and just I mean seeing that is just in itself. I utilize social media the best way I can, and now even to this day, I always look like I use social media to make money, and a lot of people just use it to look double tap different things like that. But I use it a lot. I use it a lot to make sure that my business is up and running and is in good space.
Hold on. Oh, okay. Can you hear me? So one thing I'm thinking about not too long ago was, how our story, how everything starts to come together and it starts making sense. But at the time when you're in that journey, it doesn't. Um, and I remember when I had conversations with some of my athletes, and they would always be like, "Oh my God, coach is talking about life. Oh my God. Coach is talking about choices. Oh my God." Because I had predominantly black girls on my team, so I would tell them, like, hey, your nails, like, either take the polish off or put it on. But you can't have it half, like, and they would just be like, why she care about that? And so it's so funny now to see them as young adults. They call me and they realize you always taught us how to look good. You always taught us how to, you was that example for us on you can be an athlete and still look like a woman. Like it was just always having that balance. But it used to be so frustrating when I had those athletes that had so much freaking talent, and it'd be like lazy, or they just didn't have it. What is your conversation with those people that you're like, man, dude, like you got it, and their focus is on something totally different? How was your conversation with them during that time, and what does that make you feel like when you have that type of athlete or person, even a person? Because like you said, you can transition. I started doing personal training too, And I would have them like, man, you just give up. Like it was just so. What is your conversation with your ex-athlete, your athletes when they have that potential? And then what is your conversation with your clients when it's like trying to push them to that next level or whatever they're trying to get to?
I mean, more than anything with me, I try to do my best to make them understand what their goal is. When I say what their goal is, I just pretty much ask them once again, like, "Yo, what are you here for?" Asking them what they're here for, and that will make them understand exactly what we're here to do. And a lot of times, I mean, sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes bad. Because sometimes when I'm like, "What are you here for?" They think I'm just trying to, talk bad. Not when I wouldn't say talk bad to them, but talk down on them and pretty much make them want to quit. I'm
Right.
like, ask you a question so I can understand exactly how I approach the situation. If this is what you want, this is the steps that we have to do in order for you to accomplish the goal. If this is not what you want, we got to figure out what we're here for. So a lot of times that's my breakdown as far as when it comes down to coaching, training, all walks of life. Like, I have to sit here and be like, what are you here for? Tell me what you're here for. So we can go from there. Um and a lot of times, like I said, I deal with the same situations of the kids that I wouldn't say knuckleheads, but the kids that you think really wasn't listening, but 4 years later, I'm getting DMs from them thanking me, and I'm like, yo, I was like, man, at the whole time, I'm saying like, man, this is going in one ear out the other ear, and I don't even think it's really connecting to them, but it'd be a lot of times that it's actually sticking with them, and they're like, man, look, I'm doing XYZ now, and I'm very successful. I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, or I'm in a shipyard, and I have a family, and it's crazy. Like sometimes the way that a lot of these kids receive things, but I always look on the way I received it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't always up front in front of the class. Sometimes I probably give my coach a hard time or so on and so forth. So, I just always play it back of what if my coach would have gave up on me? Or what if my coach would have just said, bump it, you ain't gonna listen, I'm gonna walk away. So it was a lot of times that I just always play that back of, I mean, I was once these kids that stands in front of me right now. You know what I mean? Or and that always helped me and motivates me to continue to push them a little more, push them. Don't try to push them out, but I push them to get them motivated to become better. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing. Like most majority of the time when it comes down to definitely when it comes down to my players, when it comes down to my athletes. When it comes to my clients, I do my best to baby them. not baby them, but I try not to get them because it's so easy when it comes down to training. It's so easy for a person to say, "Bump it, I'm not gonna do this no more," because at the end of the day, this is
A lot
coming
of them already don't want to be there because they don't have a athletic background, so it's already
at
uh,
drive.
yeah, trying even getting up to go see you to work
Mm.
out. It's already a lot.
So then at the same time, you're coming out your pocket to pay me to do XYZ. So it's so much easier for you to say, I don't want to do it no more and save you a whole bunch of money. Nah, I'm good. So I do my best to try to make sure I'm able to push them, but I'm not pushing them away. So it just plays a little different as far as the way that I approach an athlete or one of my players than I do my clients. You know what
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It was hard for me to make that transition from a coach to a trainer, even from an athlete to a coach, because as an athlete, I wanted to win. Nobody could tell me, you did the best that you could. Like I wasn't trying to hear it. If it wasn't times, if it wasn't what I was trying to do, I wasn't happy with it. So when it was time to coach, I was just like, how y'all out here? You just running? Like you don't want to win? You don't want to, you know what I'm saying? They just be like, some of them like, no. But like you said, I had to create that space of winning.
I'm saying?
Winning doesn't look the same. Like I wasn't talking about the hard work. I wasn't talking about the trophy. I wasn't talking about the medals. I'm talking about winning. Coming out
Mhm.
here being the best that you can be at whatever you're doing. And that
Whatever.
was my job, as a coach, is to make you better. in
Mm-hmm.
all aspects of your life. And so when I used to always tell, you know, I used to always get in trouble or get called to the office about my conversations with, you know, the kids. Because at the time I had white coaches that were working underneath me, older. And so they would always say stuff like, you know, why does she keep having these conversations about, you know, challenges and minorities and just coach track. Oh my God, you know. And so I remember always going to the board and everybody used to always, you know, they all looking at me like, why are you having this kind of conversation? Because I used to always keep it very professional, of course, but I would have conversations with them about, hey, nothing's gonna be given to you. You're gonna have to work for it. And so
That,
my number one thing was if I can teach you, if I can coach you through for life, I can
mhm.
coach you through any sport. So we were always winning, but people didn't understand. I had a relationship with my athletes. They trusted me. And so
Yeah.
having that is so important. But it was hard to make that transition when I had to change their mentality from just going through life and just doing things. Because as you said, the experiences you had as an athlete helped to build who you are today. So when somebody quits on you or somebody disappoints you, it's like, been there, done
Yeah.
that. You know, I've had challenges, I've had failure. So how are you able to, you know, now moving into your business world, take some of the skills that you had as an athlete or transitioning from an athlete to a coach to now an entrepreneur, your mindset of you personally, how is that conversation and what do you do to continue to press through that?
I mean, more than anything, like you said, I mean, I have a winning background, so I'm into or everything I touch, I wanted to be successful. Um, and I live in a I want to say I live in a world because it's kind of crazy, but mentally, I'm always in a space of my cup is always half full, never half empty. So me being positive and looking at everything in a positive light, it helps me a lot because I'm always looking at it far as how can I turn this bad into good? And a lot of times when it comes down to um, someone's quitting or far as when it comes down to like my training, if someone say hey I don't want to train anymore, blah blah blah, I look at it half with my cup half full and say hey, I got an opening slot, new person is gonna come. So other than me looking at it as me losing a client, granted, I mean I'm definitely gonna try to my best to make sure that I can try to fight and get them back, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to. I'm for sure not going to lose any sleep uh, over the situation. I'm gonna do my best to try to fulfill that slot that I just lost. But yeah, man, it's just trying to stay positive and keeping it going that way. The positivity is the easy. That's the easiest part of it. Just staying positive. I'm just going.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep the negative out, and I'm just going to stay positive. Keep, keep pushing. Stay positive. Stay positive. Stay positive. So that plays in my head constantly, nonstop. Like it's like I'm a man. It's like I'm so happy because I'm positive. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing with when it comes down to situations like that. Just just staying positive. That's what helps.
Well, I'm definitely gonna let Mr. Streak jump in here, but I just want to personally tell you that, Mr. Brown, you are just amazing. And sometimes we, you know, we feel it but we don't always hear it, or but I want to publicly tell you that you're an amazing man. And your energy, your vibe, is also amazing, and continue to do the things that you're doing. And we're definitely grateful to have that connection with you, because I might have to hit you up and be like, hey, I need some of that positivity. My glass look half empty. I'm gonna need you to flip it around for me. So
That,
I do just want to let you know I do appreciate you for that.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just you being having made it to the level that you made it to. Obviously, if you could have made it to the NFL, of course you would have wanted to, but where you made it, so many like I tried to walk on my freshman year, didn't make the cut.
Mhm.
Dreams, that would have been a dream come true to make it to the arena league, but just listening to all the other components is just so important. Understand, and like that story that you mentioned, as far as like these kids that will so easily give up. and you had them in the past, and then they come back and they're like, I'm successful doing so on and so forth. Now, I was working on my master's degree. It was my second year, and my final part of my final internship project was to create a mentoring program, or at least do the research to create a mentoring program. And part of that was going to interview these kids that were in alternative school. So these kids pretty much just get in trouble, and they're in alternative school. And this was predominantly white community, so they pretty much were going to be out, just out. So I went, I want to say about 3-4 different times, and I spoke with the kids there at the facility. But there was this one young man. I didn't know him when I met him, but when he told me who his grandmother was, I'm like, we cousins. Like, this young fella was a cousin of mine. So I spoke with him there. You can tell that he had just pretty much given up. Like, nobody in the school system supported him. He had pretty much thrown in the towel. And I was like, no, like, you're not giving up. So I talked to him there. After we left there, I went to his house. He was staying with his grandma. And I talked with her because she's my aunt, like great aunt.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to her. I talked to his older cousin, which I played baseball and football with him in high school. So I kind of created that safety net around him to continue to pour into him. About 2 years later, and like, this touches me. My eyes sweat a little bit sometimes when I tell the story. I got this random message in Facebook Messenger. Actually, no, I'm gonna have to scroll forever before I find it. But he pretty much he messaged me. He's like, my name is such and such. I don't know if you remember me, but you came to the school and talked to me one day, and then you came and talked to my grandma. And I just want to let you know that I got my own place now. I got my own car. I got a full-time job. I got a fiance and a baby on the way. And life is just looking so much better. Man, that felt good.
Feels great.
Because so many people just give up on them. And when you can touch one. And he said, I want to thank you because you were the only one that took the time to talk to me and that didn't give up on me. Man, that is why I do what I do. And to hear, you sharing a similar story, we have to be that for the next generation, because so many people could care less what happened to them. And I remember, you may have seen this this clip, but E.T., he was speaking at a school, and some guy in the audience was distracting him and such. And he was like, look, man, like, I came here because I care, because I love you, because I want to see you make it to the next level. Folks out there, you had such and such concert, like musical artists came here last week. They took your money, they left. They ain't paying me to be here. I came here because I care. And we can go and pour in because you care. And like, when you sow and sow and sow, your harvest is going to come eventually. But don't worry about the harvest while you're doing it. Do it for the right intentions. Man, like, it just felt so good receiving that message. And I just love that you're doing what you do, and you keep it real with your clients. Like, look, if this is what you want, this is how we're going to do it. If this ain't what you want, let's figure out what you want, because we don't need to waste my time nor your time.
Yeah.
That's when they really know that you care about what they want. And it ain't all about this is what you need because I'm the expert.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to mention that because sharing your portion, your story earlier, it just brought that back to my mind. And we have to be willing, when we make it to a certain level, to go and give back, go and pay it forward. So I appreciate you, man. I love what you're doing. Kudos on the 10 plus years and Arena League. I wish I could say the same, but it is what it is.
How's your knees?
Man, now there's always the what if, but I try not to go down that route, because I wouldn't have my beautiful daughter. I wouldn't have my son, most likely, because life would have taken a completely different path. But just mad respect for you, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Definitely looking at it that way. Always, far as like, if I didn't make it, I would be in a situation of, starting a family, starting this and that. It was a lot. It's a gift and a curse, because I had to do so much traveling. I had to do. I'd be gone for 6 months out of the year. But I mean, definitely, financially, it was worth it. But it was a lot. It was a lot. And you being in the situation you're in now, as far as just having a family and just being able to be there for your kids, is always a plus. Um, And I just, which I wish I was in your shoes, honestly, as far as when it comes down to to that nature, and as far as having kids and wife and whatever you have. I mean, I'm sorry, not to get too personal, but yeah, being able to be in that in that realm of life. I mean, that's definitely the key goal,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Um, Spread your legacy, and pass on um, who you are to kids. And I'm 36, 36, yeah,
You
36
pretty.
years, 36 years, and definitely still looking to find that part of life.
Yeah.
Um, but it's pretty hard when you're ultimate too. It's very very you I seen a post the other day about 9 to 5s. It was like, yo, you what it said. It was a very good post. It was like you're looking to stop your 9 to 5 and become an entrepreneur. Then once you become an entrepreneur, you wind up working from 5
To
all the way.
9. To the other 9.
It was definitely true when it comes down to it, because I'm literally up at the crack of dawn and not even finished training until late at night. So, but at the same time, this is what we signed up for. As far as when it comes down to it, and it's something that when you love to do something, is always better than you actually going to work stuff you don't like. So
Yeah.
it's always a plus. I'd be inside the garage all day long, honestly, if I wanted to. It's better than being able to do a job that I really dislike or don't. So
Yeah, that's real.
blessed. So
It's amazing. Like I would tell, when we talk about our journeys are always different. And it's so funny now. I see all my athletes, they married and kids, and they like, Coach, you still don't have no kids? It's like, look, I
like
don't,
that.
it's like, I don't need y'all to put, what I'm saying, making me feel like I'm not watching yours either. But, you know, I was so busy throughout my coaching career, focused on making everybody else great and focus on everybody else and focus on, so that when I got to my life, it was like my time kept going, So I'm 39, so I don't have kids and I don't have a husband either. But, it's always been a desire of mine to have those. And I know that I will have those both. But my life had always been so, you know, the next goal, the next accomplishment, the next. And so after losing my brother and I had started seeing a grieving counselor, one thing she talked to me about, which I decided to start seeing her every 2 weeks instead of seeing her as needed, because I just felt like, it's kind of like our personal trainer is somebody holding you accountable, but she holds me accountable to my mental, making sure that I started focusing on myself because we're so used to always parenting, always giving, always this, always that, always pouring. Um, and so it's been a journey trying to take back and just focus on what's important for my life. That's not attached to accomplishments. So she was like, okay, you already got the doctor. That's the highest you can go. So stop, adding things to your list. So we're so used to being busy and being productive and being effective that we forget about what is the most important to me as a woman, and that's having a family and having a husband and doing all those things. But um you know it's still a journey, that we have to transitioning from. When you're someone who's always giving, it's hard to sometimes just think about yourself, in what you want. So I appreciate you sharing that. And you will be an amazing dad for a daughter or a son, both, because we can share those stories with them. And I didn't realize, or didn't know as much about Virginia until I started watching the Michael Vick, and they talked about his high school coach, and just to see the environment. So the fact that you're in an environment and you can be so positive and be where you are now, because people can be bitter, you
Oh yeah,
know. Um, so it's just amazing to see that you're like, hey, I want to have my own legacy and have my own, continue to pour. So that's just amazing that you continue to do that.
I had a quick cameo in that 30 for 30. It was a quick cameo. It wasn't that big of a cameo, but I had a quick cameo in that 30 for 30. But the thing about it is, everybody sit here and think that our area is so big and so humongous because we have so many athletes that come from this area. But and this is coming from. I know you're in Texas. What, you in Houston?
I mean Houston. I
So
lived in El Paso, but I live in Houston now.
Houston now, yeah. So like you've been like honestly, it's like man, Virginia. Well, let me not say Virginia. Let's say the 757. Just the 757 alone, which is it's 7 cities, but it's all together. It's literally like mm, the size of it's 7 cities, probably the size of Sugarland. Nah, it's smaller than Sugarland, but it's
Seriously?
yeah, it's about the size of Sugarland. I want to say
You
that
know,
just paint the picture. But
I did
it's like, go ahead.
I did a training. I did a training in 2019 in Virginia, and I noticed like we were just in another city. Now we already in
No,
another in
this,
another.
I didn't know it was
yeah,
that small. Oh
yeah.
my
So
God.
honestly, it's like so. I stay in the peninsula. The peninsula is Newport News, Hampton, Williamsburg, Yorktown. You'll go over the bridge to get to Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Suffolk, Chesapeake, and Portsmouth. But it's literally like I swear, like the way that it's structured, like you'll be in Norfolk, then it's you'll be in Norfolk, then you're in Virginia Beach, then you back in Norfolk, and then you're in Chesapeake, and then you're in Virginia Beach. Like it's a street called Military Highway. Military Highway, literally, if you stay on Military Highway and take it straight down, you'll literally touch 5 of the 7 cities. But it's literally like you're going out of city, back into the city, to another city, back into the other city, to the next city. Like it's super crazy how it's structured. But
I
this
didn't
is
know it was small like that.
but this is home, so it's kind of like we're used to it. But like if you're from out of town, like for example, I was training Gary Owens, and he had came in town, and he actually made a joke. He made a joke about that in his skit, and I was like, yo, it was the realest thing ever though, because it's like you're literally it should be considered as one big city, honestly, but it's all different cities. It's like,
Wow.
but it's
I'm
crazy.
glad I know that. If I mess around and go to Virginia, somebody say, "Yeah, girl, I'm gonna take you out of town." They just taking you down the street.
Down the street, but, no,
You
mentally,
lied.
no,
I didn't lie.
that's
Told you I was taking you out of town.
no, that's crazy. You said that because mentally, a lot of kids really is messed up like that. Like really mentally up top, it's kind of like, I never forget a kid missed football practice. Not so. Like I said, we have um, Newport News, Hampton, Williamsburg, Yorktown, and then you go through the tunnel to get to Chesapeake, Virginia Beach. So he was like he literally said that he was going out of town, and I was like, all right. He was like, yeah, coach, I'm gonna miss probably like a week or so. I'm like, okay, cool. You going out of town, whatever. Whoop, whoop. So when he came back, I was like, man, how was out of town, man? Where did you go? He was like, yeah, man, I went to York. I went to Yorktown. I'm like,
Boy, you should have been at practice.
man, you was 15 minutes away. Like
Missed the
what?
whole practice.
But honestly, that's honestly like how a lot of us are trained here. As far as if you don't know, you really think that you're somewhere else. But if you don't know, but yeah, I definitely let the kids that I coach and like take them to 707 camps or taking them to track meet invitationals. As far as going to the Armory in New York for indoor, going to um, different universities and stuff like that to let them see World
What
757.
going out of town really looks like.
Going out
Yeah.
of town, really, exactly. So that helps out these kids a lot as far as just broadening their head because, like I said, the coach that was mentioned on the 30 for 30 with Mike Vick, he did that for us. You know, he literally took us to Clemson, took us to UNC, took us to um, Texas Southern, took us to
Wow.
Mississippi Valley State. You know what I'm saying? He took us to those places to make us see things are bigger than Newport News.
That's
Bigger
amazing. Is
and
that coach still alive?
yeah, he's still alive. He coaches at Lance. He coaches in Virginia Beach now. He coaches where the money is. But but yeah, he's at Lansdowne High School in Virginia Beach. But yeah, I still he's my mentor. I still talk to him every day. Like when I had trouble adjusting to coaching, I used to sit down and talk to him almost every night, trying to understand like how can I get it. And the realest thing that he ever told me was, "These kids are not you." And that was kind of like the whole situation that set me back and had me think like, "Oh, hmm, you're absolutely right." And that's what helped me far as breaking things down to these kids, because I had to sit back and realize that they're not me. You know what I mean? We are from the same environment, we are from the same area, but they're not Scorpio. So that was the whole thing of helping me understand the different angles that I have to go far as when I'm coaching these kids.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, currently, you're back in Virginia.
Yes. Hmm.
Got you. Well, I'm gonna try because I still have a ton of colleagues and a couple clients in the Virginia Beach, um, Virginia Beach and Hampton. Virginia
Yeah.
Beach, those two places. I'm gonna have to come back out there. I actually have you, or did you ever go to the Shake and Crab? Because I think they like revamped it, or
The
Shake and
shaking
Crab.
crab, the shaking crab, yeah, shaking crab. Is I'm not a real big boy.
Like that. Eats healthy.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a real big boyo guy. Um,
Yeah,
I'm not big on that. Like, I honestly, like, my girlfriend, she loves going to like those places and stuff. I hate those places. I don't know why, but I
because
just
it's good for you.
it's just I'm not a fan of it. You know what I'm saying? And but I know exactly what you're talking. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I never ever go there. I definitely, like if my girl says she want to go there, I will literally give her money and tell her to go by herself.
It's,
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, right.
He
It does.
said,
I'm just being honest. Like, but she loves the boil bag.
just
She
go
loves.
get a drink or eat a salad, but you need to go.
yeah,
We'll get.
that was the first spot that I was taken to eat when I came into Virginia, and
Mhm.
it was some good eating.
No,
In my personal opinion.
your personal opinion. Your personal I mean, hey, I take your word for it.
That's it, man. But yeah, you what got me by probably less than a year. I'm 35 myself. I'm just now getting
Oh,
back
yeah,
serious.
young bucks.
I'm just you can leave, Sherelle. Uh, I'm just now getting back serious as far as my physical fitness. So I'm definitely going to be following you, and who knows, I might have to reach out to you and get some accountability, take advantage of some of the things you got to offer. But
Oh
keep
yeah,
doing what you're doing, man. We need more like you out there.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let everyone know where they can find you, and if you have any products that you have, any books, any workouts, or anything that you want that you have, let people know where they can find you and what services you provide.
Okay. Well, my personal Instagram is Scorpio 757. My business Instagram is Two Stick Training. That's TSTICKTRAINING. So it's two stick. It's not two sticks. A lot of people put an S on it by accident, but it's two stick. I know it's not politically correct, but I was able to use it because nobody ever take the S off of it. So, but that's my Instagram. That's my business Instagram. Then on Facebook is Scorpio Mr. 757 Brown. They will not let me delete that middle name for some reason. I swear it sucks. But that's my that's my Facebook page. I have a business Facebook page as well, which is Two Stick Training, as well as I have a Scorpio Brown fan page as well, which I mean I don't really use anymore because I'm not in that life anymore. But
Fan page?
yeah, it's it has highlights and touchdowns and stuff like that on it. Nothing major.
We're gonna
Um,
check.
yeah, I mean, I haven't even. I don't think I've been on it in 4 years. I think something like that. But from when I was playing ball, I pretty much stayed on top of it as far as like interacting with fans and stuff like that. Because I got to the point I couldn't add people to my Facebook. I had got too many Facebook friends, so I had to use that page in order for me to autograph sign and so on and so forth. But yeah, those are the ways of getting in contact with me. I don't have any merchandise to sell right now. I'm working on some stuff right now. Apple right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Stuff. I actually just posted something on my story today. Making some crew shirts with the logo. I don't know if you've seen a historically black college shirt that got like the furry embroidery.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that with the two stick logo. So yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on that now. Um, Hopefully that should be on the ground and running very soon. And Yeah, just coaching. Started a security company not so long ago. It's going pretty good as far as supplying nightclubs and businesses, security guards. Got that off the ground some months ago, and like just getting all streams and income possibly get and saving
Well,
lives. Trying to
you doing amazing job. I was seeing you in there in the garage getting them, knocking them out. I saw a class that you had the other day. I was gonna stand up and start working out, but my hamstring was hurting from my workout I did the night before. I was like, I'm good on that. My
realize
leg was
I
hurting.
died after that workout. My legs were on
When you
fire.
make your own workout, you die from your own workout is bad. I make all my workouts and I'd be like, why do I, what am I going to grow out of this pushing it to the limit? Like I can't walk, but I instead of just going in there like, yeah, B, I'll call you back. I'm in there. And Brian be like, damn, you got muscles. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't even lift my arms. Like I'm trying to figure out why I keep doing that to myself.
Gotta
But
push
Mr.
it. Gotta.
Thank you so much for just being you. And thank you for accepting the invite to be on the show. And so this show is just a small component of the big picture. And so you will be seeing some newsletters of our company, HSBA, where we connect people like you to our actual youth. So now we'll have youth that have someone they can say, man, I talked to Mr. Brown, he said this and that. So it's about building relevant relationships. And so we just appreciate what you're doing, and we will continue to support you, your business IG. So everyone who is watching, please make sure you support Mr. Scorpio Brown. You see his IG here, Scorpio757. His business also pays two stick training. So if you're looking to do a workout, or if you just need some motivation, whatever you got going on, support him and what he's doing. He's doing some great things out there, and hopefully we can continue to support you so that you can continue to sow seeds where you're at in Virginia. And so I need to make a visit to Virginia, and I guess I could just make a visit to all of Virginia since it's all together.
Well,
Just do it
just
all in one
all in one trip. It'd be a nice little drive.
trip. Yeah, so we thank you for that, and we're gonna go ahead and tie up. But again, thank you, all the guests. Please make sure you share this video and go check out Mr. Scorpio Brown. He's in the building. Thank you for doing all that you do.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
sir.
Thank y'all so much for having me, man. I definitely appreciate it, and man, definitely. Whenever y'all need me to come on again, I'm here to come again. So just let me know. I'm always
Will always.
Hey, that's all you had to say.
That's all you have to say.
Yes, sir. You have a good one now.
All right, now take it easy.
Yes, sir.
Well, we are wrapping it up. And thank you again for joining the Black Podcast with my partner in crime, Mr. Streak. Um, just another amazing story. I'm just so honored and grateful for just
Let's time out. Everybody who's watching, give a round of applause to Dr. Sherelle Hobson, because she is the one that goes out and fishes for these great guests. Like, I wish I could take some credit, but she is the one that goes out. She finds the guest. I'll give us a title for the guest, but that's about the most of what I'm going to help with. I do my part, but
you do a lot. Don't
you
let
do
him.
a great job. I want to say and let the world know that I appreciate that. Appreciate you, AJ.
I would, yeah, that's my cousin.
That's
But I couldn't ask for a better partner. So I always say I always appreciate you. So thank you for supporting the Black Podcast. It's bigger than what we have just here. This is a big deal. Don't get me wrong, but we have something that's even bigger. So if you think this is a big deal, you ain't seen nothing yet. Make sure you check out hsba.com and find out what we are doing in the community and what different projects that we have going on, because I can promise you that these services that we offer to our youth, you can use that in the area that you're in. So please make sure that you are looking on how you can help support us. You can be a sponsor, you could be a partnership, you could be a volunteer, or you could just give us information on who may need our services. So please go to wearehsba.com and find out what we have coming up and all the different projects that we have and services that we offer. The Black Podcast is always going to be here every Thursday at 4 p.m. Now we have a couple of guests that we have during the week that couldn't make a Thursday show. So just always watch our social media and look for different posts on when our next show is. But you can always catch us here Thursdays for sure on the Black Podcast.
Yeah. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you same time, same place next week.